Turbo has reached a new all-time high. It's absolutely smashed it. And I can't say I'm surprised because, again, hypothetically, I did call that. But even besides that point, I still do believe that Turbo during this bull run still has a ways to go because, first of all, Bitcoin hasn't even reached the price of $100,000 yet. And I think that the whole crypto space overall is just starting to wake up. And just imagine if Turbo is doing this right now, could you begin to think what could very well happen once Bitcoin goes to the price of 100,000, under 50,000, and then the altcoin season is fully in fifth gear? Man, 50 cents for Turbo at that point wouldn't surprise me whatsoever. And of course, that's not financial advice and not a guarantee. But again, I'm still standing by 50 cents as my hypothetical price target during this bull run because the way you take a look at Turbo is that it's basically like a Pepe and Book a Meme, but just a little bit better. Now, what do I mean by that? I'm not saying that the community is much better. I'm not saying that, it's very much different when it comes to that because after all, again, they're just all meme coins. But the special added ingredient is that when you take a look at Turbo, it's a meme coin created by AI. So that right there is just really what sets it apart because if you think about it, we've seen the blueprint when it comes to Book a Meme, right? When it comes to Pepe, a cool meme coin that's different, interesting, listed in a bunch of major exchanges, and also on top of that, has a very passionate community. That's exactly what we see when it comes to Turbo. But again, the special added ingredient is the fact that it's a meme coin created by AI. So when it comes to Turbo, it kind of shares the same traits of like a Pepe, of a Book a Meme, but then it just has a little bit more. Now, when it comes to Turbo, does it still have a lot to prove? Absolutely. And does it need to become like the next Shiba Inu or Dogecoin to be considered a success? Absolutely not. But in my opinion, better days are ahead. And again, right, some people like to think that, if it doesn't become like the next Shiba Inu or Dogecoin, that means it's complete trash. No, I disagree because, first of all, going to the price of 50 cents, having a market cap considering current circulating supply of around $32 billion, that's still over 35x from here. So I don't think that, Turbo necessarily needs to become the next Shiba Inu or the next Dogecoin to do well because, over 30x, it's not bad at the end of the day. Not to mention, when you take a look at Shiba Inu, at one point reached around 40 billion, Dogecoin at one point reached over 80 billion. So yeah, this is kind of small actually compared to that. And when it comes to Turbo, when it had like a big dip, last month, right, when I was talking about it, everyone was saying that, it's caca, all this type of stuff. But hey, when it comes to Turbo, it's been constantly proving a lot of the critics wrong because initially when it had that pump, had a big pullback, everyone kept saying, wow, it's trash, all this type of stuff. But I think when it comes to Turbo, people sometimes underestimate just how passionate the community is. Because if you think about it, a number of months ago when meme coins were having that massive pump and then a lot of it, had a pullback, right? A lot of the meme coins, what happened? The community, man, it just went down in the gutter. Like in some cases we've seen the amount of holders dropping like 90%, 80%. I mean, just completely atrocious. And the team, pretty much they gave up. But when it comes to Turbo, that seems to not be the case. The community is still very passionate. The hype is still there. And also on top of that, it's beginning to be listed in more and more major exchanges because if you think about it, Turbo, when it had that initial pump, it really wasn't listed in that many major exchanges in my opinion. But as of right now, man, it's just getting more special. Listed in Binance, right? People often consider it the premier exchange. There's over 200 million users when it comes to Binance. That's massive. Also, you take a look at the KuCoin listing. That's fantastic. But I think there's going to be more to come in the future because when it comes to something like Turbo, it's quite essentially a movement which I believe is very difficult to stop because a lot of people out there, right, they seem to think that, wow, Turbo, there's no future, all this type of stuff. But when you consider just how special something like this is, man, I really do believe that the sky's the limit. And oftentimes people like to complain that, wow, Turbo has such a bad use case, all this type of stuff. But it's not really necessary when it comes to a meme coin to have such a fantastic use case because if you take a look at it, right, when it comes to meme coin, it's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be exciting. It's supposed to be interesting. And it's supposed to have a very passionate community, which is exactly what Turbo is. The type of person who kind of complains that a meme coin has a bad use case, it's like going to a rave and then complaining that the music is too loud. Well, it's a rave. I mean, it's supposed to have loud music, if you know what I mean. Even though personally speaking, I don't like going to raves because I think it's pretty much kind of boring. I'd much rather just, not do that. But even besides that point, each thing has its own vibe, for instance, right? If you take a look at a project like ICP, like Casper, like Quant, like Jasmine, the list goes on and on and on. That's like going to the library. You know what I mean? It's like watching a documentary. Nothing wrong with that. it's not as flashy as like a meme coin, for instance. It's not as flashy as like going to a rave, but each place has its own vibe. That's the way to take a look at it. There's nothing wrong with that, right? But I think that sometimes people kind of confuse like one thing for the other. They take a look at a meme coin and they're like, oh, wow, the use case is so bad. But again, it's a meme coin. It's not supposed to become the most, fundamentally amazing, layer one blockchain or something like that. No, that's not the case whatsoever. You know what I mean? But yeah, but even besides that point, when I take a look at TRUBO, I think that the run is far from over because, again, Bitcoin, I still think, has a lot of room to grow. And also on top of that, you take into consideration how there's now over 600 million crypto owners. That's more than ever before in history. So that's insane. I mean, if you take a look at the peak of the 2021 bull run, at that time, people considered that, wow, the bull run was so amazing. But actually, again, during that moment, even during the peak of that bull run that year, there was roughly only around 300 million crypto owners. Now there's pretty much double that amount according to Crypto.com research. So I think that this bull run could be so special. And we're beginning to see signs of it as of right now. But again, I think better days are ahead because even historically speaking, right, altcoins as a worst case scenario, they've been known to peak around a year and a half after a Bitcoin halving event. The last Bitcoin halving event happened back in April. So worst case is actually around October of next year. So you could imagine that. There's still around a year from right now, hypothetically, for something like TRUBO to truly showcase what it's capable of. And I really can't wait because could you imagine, right? Once the sentiment really kicks back in again, once Bitcoin reaches new all-time highs and reaches new and greater heights, man, the FOMO, the buying pressure, the buying volume could be so insane, especially again with over 600 million crypto owners. I really don't see why not. Man, I think it could be so special. And I think moments like this truly highlights why dollar cost averaging has, hypothetically worked so well for me because I was dollar cost averaging to TRUBO throughout this whole time. And the fantastic thing about it was that I quite essentially was able to still scoop up on the dip because I never went all in. So I was still able to accumulate. But then I didn't miss out on the pump either because I was constantly accumulating and just, not giving up. The day when TRUBO really did decide to wake up again, man, I didn't miss out on it. And that right there is why I love dollar cost averaging so much. That way it kind of protects me from both sides, so to speak, right? Again, things dip, can still acquire more, things pump. Hey, it's fine because I didn't miss out on it. And I think this right here is much better than like day trading because some people, let's say, they draw triangles on a price chart, wherever the case may be. They draw like a Bratwurst extender, who knows, on a price chart. And then they say, yeah, the price is going to pump, dump, all this type of stuff. But then they never truly know, right? A lot of my friends who've been doing that for years, they oftentimes don't even get it right. So imagine if, a lot of the people out there, which, were saying, yeah, we're going to short TRUBO, and then it turns out the price went up. What happened? A lot of them got cooked, which is why I don't want to do that. I like to keep things simple because I view myself as a very simple individual. I even cut my own hair, by the way. I just cut my own hair, if you noticed, right? The previous video, my hair was a little bit longer. But yeah, even besides that point, all I got to do right now is just stay patient because the way I view it is that it's basically like a 10-mile marathon. And then I'm kind of nearing the finish line, if that makes sense, in terms of my acquisition. I feel like I'm 8 or 9 miles down and it's like a 10-mile marathon. I'm not going to give up right now. It'd just be crazy to me. That's why I'm staying consistent. Now, am I saying that TRUBO is just going to have this straight shot all the way to 50 cents without any pullbacks? I think that's highly unlikely. I think, along the way up, of course, there's going to be pullbacks. But I think when it comes to TRUBO, it's been constantly proving a lot of people wrong. So I think generally speaking, again, I think the trajectory is going to be upwards. But even besides that, when it comes to TRUBO, even despite all this, I'm going to still continue with my strategy, just dollar cost averaging and just keeping it simple that way. And I think that when it comes to the Ethereum ETF also, that could create so much positive sentiment when it comes to the crypto space overall on top of the Bitcoin ETF. So I think, again, this bull and better days are ahead. And by the way, if you want to know my exit strategy, you want to know other meme coins I'm holding in my portfolio, which ones I think could do well. And also on top of that, if you want me to review your portfolio, feel free to join my Discord. The link is in the description below if you want to. And also on top of that, feel free to become a channel member if you want me to prioritize responding to your comments. And again, that's if you want to. And again, TRUBO at the price of 50 cents during this bull run really wouldn't surprise me whatsoever. I think this bull run could be so special. I think TRUBO is that fantastic. And man, I believe that better days are ahead and I really can't wait. And make sure to subscribe if you gain value from this video. I greatly appreciate it. It's been Lee the Captain. I'll catch y'all on the next one. I'm out. Peace. Bye.